Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff. You are here once more at the Schwa Mill, where every single Saturday we help you craft your accent by doing free pronunciation reviews, where you can send in your pronunciation files and we take a look at them and try to give feedback to help them sound as natural as possible. Ooh, I just realized I forgot to do something, but before I adjust that, just want to say some quick hellos. Hello to Edward. Good to see you again. Glad you could join us. Well, also to Emmanuel for checking in. And as you're checking in too, be sure to take a look at our poll. We're trying to see how much time did you spend studying pronunciation this week? And if you're not happy with your answer, if you're like, I want to study more, but I don't know how, there are going to be some opportunities that we're going to discuss. But just being here will also help you up your time spent studying, which we are excited about. Hello also to Shok. Thank you for checking in again as well. So, what we do again, like I mentioned, is we allow you to send in your own pronunciation files. And you may be wondering how exactly to do that. And basically, we use a Google Doc, which I will put into the chat in a moment. You can also find this in the video description. And once you go to this document, let me actually show you what it's going to look like. All right, so once you go to this document, which I've just put in the chat, this is what the document will look like. And you're going to see that here there's going to be some instructions that tell you to go to a site called Vocaroo.com. Google Docs doing its weird thing again. Does not like it when I do that. Okay. I'll have to reload that. But basically, it's going to tell you to go to Vocaroo.com if you're not familiar with Vocaroo.com. This is what it looks like. Okay. When you first log in, you're probably going to see a big fat record button. You press that record button. It's then going to ask you to save. You press save. It's going to give you a link. You press that link and you take it. And assuming you have better luck than I do right now, you'll be able to paste this right into the document here and also include your name and things like that. So we'll be able to see your file, we'll be able to listen to it, and then give you the pronunciation advice that you seek. Okay. Just some other quick things too. If there's anyone here that's preparing to take an IELTS test or a TOEFL test, we are working on assembling a cohort of students to kind of do a program that's similar to our Mission English program, where we would look at student writing, do live streams that kind of focus on the writing and help you improve. So if you're someone that does academic writing, that's just interested in writing in general, or that's planning on taking an IELTS test or a TOEFL test, something to consider. I was an IELTS examiner for 3 years. Glad I'm done, but I can also give some feedback about that as well. Okay. So something to take a look at. Got a question here from Carmen, if I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks for joining us today. Very fond of that. How to catch an American accent. Can you help me? Yeah, that's kind of that's why we're here. We are here to help people get an American English accent. So again, you can go to this link, follow the instructions with Vocaroo, and that way you can send in your pronunciation. Okay. Hello. Also, great to see you back, Slovenia. And again, if you'd like to send in your pronunciation file, I'd be happy to take a look at it. 9:34 there. You are living in the future, sir. We are in the past. It is about 1:35 p.m., just past lunchtime here in the U.S. Okay. And of course, if you guys have other questions and things as we go through this, be sure to let me know. But I'm going to make one quick adjustment, and then we're going to begin taking a look at your pronunciation files. So let's get into it. Whoa, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, or here? Give me 1 sec, guys. Sorry about that. All right, so we are now ready to take a look at your pronunciation files. I have my headphones on. I'm going to share my screen once more, and then we can get right into it. At the moment, we don't have too many files, so we should be able to get through these relatively quickly. And let's take a look and see. Interesting question here. So Edward asks, "It's difficult to acquire an Appalachian accent, or some people call it Appalachia." Um, I don't know. I've never tried. I don't have one. The Appalachia. If you're not familiar with Appalachia, the Appalachians are a mountain range in the eastern part of the United States. People in that region, especially if you've ever heard of states like Virginia, Kentucky, maybe in Carolinas to a degree, they do have some regional things that are a little unique. The one that kind of stands out to me is like, instead of saying like oil, more like all, and things like that. I mean, I imagine as difficult as any other accent, or as easy as any other accent. How much time are you dedicating to study it? I know that's a horrible answer, but that's the best I can give you. Hello also to Manal. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So again, guys, if you want to send in your pronunciation files, you can use the document. So upload. Okay. This.
Now, build quality is fantastic. I also think it's nice style and definitely pocketable.
Oh, yes. If you ever watched this, so Lionel Hutchell, he's a lawyer, and the first part sounds a lot like what he did, like how he talks. But again, this is the text, the words they actually says. Okay. And I'll play it out one more time.
Now, the build quality is fantastic. I also think it's real nice looking as well. Kind of simple, fits my style, and definitely pocketable.
I don't know. Again, this is coming from shadowing, so there's a really good chance this is coming from, some source material. But one thing I would say is that I personally would say I probably would have stressed definitely instead of pocketable, and definitely pocketable, as opposed to definitely pocketable. So you can hear that difference.
My style and definitely pocketable.
Definitely pocketable. But that's not to say that the way that this is being read is wrong. I think that works as well. I just probably would have stressed definitely. Definitely is just one of those words that when you see it, it very often receives stress. That's just note about that. How about some things in the beginning?
Now, the build quality is fantastic.
Okay. Nice pitches. So this is Emmanuel. I know Emmanuel's been working on his pitches, and this is great. I like this. Very high. We got a great range of things happening.
I also think it's real nice looking. Now, the build quality is...
So you can hear the range there. Now, the build quality, so like, notice how high it gets on build, and then as it gets to quality, it starts dropping down in pitch, and that's a very natural progression. Now, the build quality, and the is, I think, goes down as well.
Now, the build quality is fantastic.
Build quality is fantastic. So again, that sort of pitch movement, this is something that a lot of people who have learned English tend to be missing, is they tend to sound very flat. They tend to be repeating the same pitches over and over again. But this is how you avoid that, by increasing some of your highs, go higher, and some of your lows go lower. So I would encourage you to just kind of shadow things like this, like build quality is fantastic. So just make sure you're getting that full range. If you're just saying build quality is fantastic, you're missing out. It's not going to sound quite as natural. You want to really try to apply as many pitches as you can.
Fantastic. I also think it's real nice looking as well.
This part I also think is really nice look. So I like what you're doing. So you shifted everything lower in pitch. Cool.
I also think it's real nice looking as well.
Nice looking as well. So you're stressing looking.
I also think it's real nice looking as well.
I also think it's really nice looking as well. I think it's nice looking. I think it's really nice looking as well. I would be, if that part was shadowed, I'd be curious to know if looking was stressed or if nice was stressed. It's like really nice looking. I also think it's really nice looking as well, or really nice looking as well. Because I feel like with looking, a lot of times the word that comes before it tends to get stressed. So again, those are some phrases that you could put into like Youglish or something and kind of see what other native speakers are doing. Besides that,
I also think it's real nice looking as well. Kind of simple, fits my style.
that's interesting. So you stressed my fits my style. So maybe not your style, but my style. So adding that little extra emphasis there on the my. I think that's fine if that's again intentional.
It's my style and definitely pocketable.
Yeah, definitely pocketable. That's how I worded it. Definitely pocketable. Notice how the range is there. Definitely pocketable. Definitely pocketable. So my def is really high, and then the bull at the end of pocketable is really low. Definitely pocketable. So again, just increasing the range of pitches that you're using. Other things to note too for definitely, more of a held T sound, so it's not definitely. Also for that L, it's a dark L, so the tip of your tongue is down. So it's not definitely, it's more definitely. Honestly, when I'm saying definitely, the tip of my tongue is down here. Let me make myself big for a moment. So when I'm saying definitely, definitely, that's the tip of my tongue down here against my bottom front tooth the entire time. So I challenge you, can you say definitely like that as well? Something to take a look at when you are pronouncing that. Definitely. And in fact, definitely pocketable. That whole phrase you can do with the tip of your tongue against your bottom front tooth. Definitely pocketable. Definitely pocketable. Okay. The other key thing with this is breath. So trying to get the air to keep flowing from one syllable to the next. It's not definitely pocketable. It's definitely pocketable. Trying to keep that breath flowing. If you find that difficult to do, which you can try, is just focusing on the vowels for a moment. It's like e, ah, o. Definitely pocketable. And then you can kind of speed that up and try to link it more. It's like, hey, definitely pocketable. Hey, definitely pocketable. And this is how you can get it sounding a little bit more fluid. Other things here. Let me bring it back.
Now the build quality is fantastic. I also think it's real nice looking as well.
I also think it's really nice looking as well.
Kind of simple.
I probably would have gone lower in pitch on that. Really nice looking as well. Kind of simple.
Fits my style.
Fits my style. Fits my style. So you kind of have this list, right? Nice looking as well. Kind of simple. Fits my style. So but we can kind of play around with those a little bit more. Nice looking as well. Kind of simple. Fits my style. Like especially if you're stressing my, you have some options with style. Like fits my style. And it's like that fall rise. That's something you can do to kind of break up the pattern so it's not too predictable with your list. Fits my style and definitely pocketable. It's like nice looking as well. Kind of simple. Fits my style and definitely pocketable. That's personally how I would have read that, at least right now.
Build quality is fantastic. I also think it's real nice looking as well. Kind of simple, fits my style, and definitely pocketable.
I just want to hear that dark L sound on style.
Simple, fits my style.
Style, I think that's fine, but you could have a little bit more separation. Like fits my style. Notice that my dark L is a little bit more separated. Style instead of style, more style. Just a little note there. But yeah, those are kind of my big suggestions for that file. Emmanuel or anyone else, if you guys have questions for me about anything there, be sure to let me know. But thank you so much for sending that file. I appreciate it. My mom is in the house. What's up, Mom? Thanks for checking by. Good to see you. All right. And again, one thing that we did mention, or Emmanuel mentioned as well, is that this was originally from shadowing. Great. And if you're not familiar with shadowing is basically when you listen to something and your goal is to basically copy exactly what you hear. So you listen to it and you try to imitate it. So for instance, when the pitch rises, you try to raise your pitch. When there's linking, you try to use that linking. When it goes down, you try to go down. You try to get the intonation. You try to get the right vowel sounds. So it's like you listen, you repeat, you listen, you repeat, you listen, you repeat. And even better would be recording yourself, so then you can replay the recording and hear back what you did. That's definitely something I would recommend. If you are serious about pronunciation, that's something you really kind of need to be incorporating into your practice, 5-10 minutes a day. Okay. But besides that, speaking of study practice, I have a poll going on right now. You can see this on YouTube. How much pronunciation did you study this week? Right now, we are evenly split between 0 to 5 minutes of pronunciation practice. My timings are kind of weird. So that should be 5 to 20 minutes, then 20 to 59 minutes, and then 1 or more hours. No one has studied an hour or more pronunciation this week. I know that's not true because some of you are Mission English members, and you definitely have studied more than an hour this week. Okay. But keep me posted on the poll. Let me know how long you guys have been studying. If there's a specific concept you're focusing on this week, let me know. If there's a specific word you're trying to say in American English and you're having a hard time, let me know in the chat. Or if you're just kind of here to hang, that's fine as well. Let's take a look at our next file here. And again, the document is still time. Oh, my mom just sent a file. Cool. So there is still time to send files, as you guys can see. My mom says she studied for hours. Probably not American English. Okay, so let's take a look at our next one. So again, this is documents. Our next file is here. Let's do a shorter one. 15, 16. People are sending me books today. Okay, let's take a listen to this file.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Okay. Bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Hello, also to Zabeda checking in. Great to see you again, miss. Thanks for stopping by once more. I'm going to play that again.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Okay. Here's our text. So bird in hands worth 2 in a bush. Again, popular idiom, expression in American English. One of the things that I'm noticing here is it does sound a little flat to me. So I do think we can increase our range of pitches, and this is going to add some contrast to your speech. Kind of an unusual comment for Shok.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Okay, before we even get to that, though, this is just a pronunciation thing.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. A bird in the hand is worth
versus worth. I would say, hey, it sounds like maybe we're doing a lot of movement for worth. And notice for my lips that there's not really a whole lot of action going on. It's very boring. So it's just like worth, just like some very slight opening. My lips are staying pretty straight. If you are practicing the word worth and you find it doing worth, that's fine. You can have round lips on your W. I would just say make sure that your placement and your breath are staying low and open. If you're not sure what placement is all about where you're projecting sound from. If you're not sure what I mean by breath is about the amount of air you're allowing to go through your body. Okay, so a key concept with breath is, for instance, a quick exercise you can do to kind of really start feeling your breath. I want you to put your hands on your stomach. I want you to take a big breath in through your nose. And then I want you to breathe out and exhale and say shh, like you need someone to be quiet, and try to drag it out as long as you can. So again, breathe in through your nose, hands on your stomach, and shh. And hopefully you could hold that as long as me, if not longer. Okay. And as you did that, what you should feel is that your hands are going to start to move in as you're getting your diaphragm involved in your speech. And basically, when you're speaking in American English, you want that movement. You want to feel your diaphragm contracting, moving in. A lot of people are not using their diaphragm when they learn English, though. They're using their lungs to produce sounds. So, for instance, if I talk, for instance, like this, right now what I'm doing is I'm not really using my diaphragm. I'm just using my lungs, and you may be able to hear the difference in sound. Whereas now I am using my diaphragm a little bit more, and you may be able to hear just a little bit more breath coming through. My voice is also a little bit richer and things like that. So every time you speak in American English, you really want to try to engage your diaphragm. Okay. Anyways, I see lots of people commenting already on the clip, so let's kind of go back and listen to this again.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Okay, so we talked a little about worth. I think we could open that up more. Okay, try to get more air flowing through and trying to keep the placement a little lower. It's like worth, instead of worth, more worth is worth. Okay. Also for that final sound on bush, I would like to hear again.
And is worth two in the bush.
Bush, bush. Do you know the difference between mine and that one?
Worth two in the bush.
Bush. It just feels like your vowel's a little bit fast. And in American English, we're emphasizing vowel sounds. So we don't want the vowel to be fast. No, we want the vowel to be, as long as possible for the words. So trying to get that sound to be longer. Bush. It's like bush. And I would do that progression like 3 times. Try to get the breath flowing. So like bush, bush, bush. I would really recommend doing that. Just try to open that up more. Besides that,
a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Okay. And some other things going on here that people commented on. So I can find my mouse. My mom notes she loves this clip. I would stress hand bit and then pause before continuing with is. Yes, we're going to talk about those thought groups and stresses in a moment. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, and Edward mentions in the hand is to reduce. We're in the hands worth. Yeah, you could also reduce that too. You could make some contractions. Okay, so you could say a bird in the hand's worth, instead of saying bird in the hand is worth. In speech, it's probably more common to hear the contraction. Besides that, though, let's talk a little bit about a concept called thought groups. Okay, you guys can let me know. Let me know in the chat. Have you heard of thought groups before? Yes or no? I'm just curious. Okay, but I'm going to explain the concept regardless. So thought groups are basically when you talk, you're not in any language, your first language, in American English, we're not just saying a word at a time. I am not talking one word at a time. That's not how American English works or any language works. No, we group words together. Words naturally appear with other words. A thought group is basically a unit in a sentence that Emmanuel has heard about. Thank you, Emmanuel. Where basically, and Shoka's heard of it too. So it's a group of words that go together basically like before a pause. Okay, so it's like a unit of thought in a sentence that goes together before you can pause. So like if you're ever talking in American English and you're like, I don't know where to break or anything. So thought groups are the places where you can pause and it sounds natural. Okay. And so what we're going to see here, my camera's a little low, is that in our phrase, let me make this big again. Where is our phrase? Okay, so in our phrase, and you're going to see, excuse me while I adjust this. I think that'll be all right. Okay, so in our phrase here, I would say we have 2 thought groups. Okay, bird in the hands, okay, worth 2 in the bush. Bird in the hands, worth 2 in the bush. You have some, thought groups are very flexible. You could have the thought group end on bird in the hands, or you could have it end on worth. So like bird in the hands worth, there's a lot of flexibility here, but that's one of those places is most likely where the stress is going to appear. Okay. So beyond that, once in every thought group, every thought group is going to have a stress word. Okay. Bird in the hands, probably going to stress hands there. Worth 2 in the bush. In the second thought group, you're probably going to stress 2. Okay, maybe you could stress bush, but I feel like 2 is going to be the more frequent one. Okay, burn the hands, we're 2 in the bush. Burn the hands, we're 2 in the bush. So once you find your stress word is usually going to have a higher pitch. In addition to that, though, the other thing that we really want to be thinking about is for every thought group kind of has its own pitch register. And so if we're trying to sound more natural, we're trying to avoid sounding flat in American English, we want to, when we come to a different thought group, we want to kind of play around with the pitches a little bit, and it's just going to add more contrast. Otherwise, everything we say is going to kind of sound very similar in pitch and sound very flat. Okay. Edward says that he thinks this how it comes naturally with like thought groups. That's great. And Svea says she's heard of thought groups, but wishes she applied them more. Understandable. So, for instance, in our sentence here, bird in the hands, let's say I put that first group at a higher pitch, a bird in the hands. So then my second thought group, I may want to put at a lower register. It's worth 2 in the bush. A bird in the hands, worth 2 in the bush. A bird in the hands, worth 2 in the bush. Or you could switch it. Maybe I'll start lower. Bird in the hands, worth 2 in the bush. A bird in the hands, worth 2 in the bush. So you can hear that again as I'm switching from one thought group to the next. The register is changing for the thought group pitch. Okay, so this is just something that, again, you can start applying to your own speech and thought groups. If you're like, I sound flat, or I'm always using the same pitches over and over again, well, this is something that you can immediately start doing. This is something you can immediately start doing. Do you see I did it right there? Okay, so just, again, trying to incorporate as many changes of pitches. Because basically in this original audio, okay, I'm going to play it back.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
A bird in the hand is worth. We're just staying really flat there. A bird in the hand is worth. A bird in the hand is worth. So if I put that stress on hand, I'm able to increase the range of pitches. A bird in the hand is worth. So now it sounds a little bit more dynamic. A bird in the hand's worth versus a bird in the hand is worth. So just kind of a note there. Okay. And so beta, no worries. Okay, so that's going to be kind of my big suggestions there for that phrase. If you guys have other questions for me about this sentence, or pitch, or stress, or breath, be sure to let me know. But thanks to Shok for sending us that file. Okay. I just want to take a quick moment, guys. So first of all, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If this is your first time seeing the Schwab Mill, be sure to let us know, because it's great to have you here. It's always great. We've been doing this for how many episodes? Maybe like 100 episodes. I don't know, something like that. But it's great to always have new people checking out. And basically, again, we're looking at American English pronunciation files that people send us. But even though this show is just once a week, it's every Saturday around this time, there's so many more opportunities for studying and for all different levels. So for instance, just to let you know, if, we're in a recession right now, I get it. So if you're trying to choose sources based on your income and you're like, there's not a whole lot coming in right now. That's why we have the YouTube channel. We're doing things like this show and all of our videos for free, But if you find that, okay, I have a few more resources available to me. Well, for instance, for $5, you get access to our Telegram group. So we have a group on Telegram. You can join either at fluentamerican.com or patreon.com. And basically in Telegram, every single day, I post a group of words or sentences to say. You can send in your audio and you get feedback. You get feedback from me and my assistant teacher, Lenore. Again, that's every single day of the week. So again, that's our Telegram group. So again, $5 gets you access to Telegram for an entire month. Okay. Or you can check out Mission English. Mission English is our program where we do live streams Monday through Friday, 2 times a day. This is actually our schedule. It's based on New York times. And so we spread them out to try to hit different time zones around the world. So for instance, let's say that 8 o'clock p.m. New York time is a great time for you. Well, we do that on Monday. We do that on Wednesday. And we do that on Thursday. Maybe you need that 9:30 in the morning time, New York. Maybe that works out well for you. Okay. So you can check out the Tuesday class. You can check out the Wednesday class. You can check out the Friday class. Okay. So we've staggered all the times and things like that. And it's live streams. It's like I'm here, you're over there. And basically we have class together. You can ask questions. We do exercises. Also, it's in a private Facebook group, so you can see all previous classes once you join. So if you join today, you already get access to 100, 200 classes that you can check out, cover different topics and things like that. So that's part of our Mission English program. We'll talk more about that a little bit later as well. And lastly, we also have private classes if you're looking for something a little bit more individual. Okay. But lots of different offerings for you. All you need to do is go to fluentamerican.com. You can see that below my name. But again, we also have our main YouTube channel as well. Okay. We do have a question here.
Question.
What does the idiom mean? Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So this phrase is a great question. A lot of languages have something similar to this expression too. Bird in hand is worth bird in hand is worth two in the bush. So it's better to have something than even let me rephrase. It's better to have even a little of something than nothing. Because like let's say you really want to have a bird. Well, ideally you want to have two birds, right? But it's better to have one bird than to have no birds because all the birds are over there in that bush. So it's better to actually have something than have nothing, pretty much. Yep. That's interesting. My mom is associating with like risk and things like that. I mean, yeah, I think that's, again, sticking with what you have versus something you don't have. I think that's where the risk comes in. Yep. All right. And if you have questions about other expressions or anything English related, be sure to let us know. Okay. Yes, it was a good question. Agreed. Idioms and expressions are always fun. Let me know if your language has a similar version. You can translate it. What's the idiom that your language has to express a similar idea? Most languages have a similar one to that. Okay, we got two slightly longer files. I'm going to share my screen once more. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. And by the way, guys, if you want to help me out, if you're finding this information that we're doing right now helpful, then you can help me by doing this. Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing. Okay, let's listen to our next file here.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us. Can you send him an email and set a time? I wouldn't worry about it. It's just time to move on and find something else. The house he's selling is very expensive anyway.
Okay. It's a little bit long. Give me 1 second just to adjust the words. Okay, and these are... Wait a second. Okay, let's break this down a little bit.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us.
Okay.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us.
I want to hear that dark L on seller a little bit.
By the way, the seller wants...
Seller versus seller. I would go weaker on that second syllable and try to get just a little bit more breath through. The seller wants to meet with us. The seller wants to meet with us. The seller wants to meet with us. Notice how much weaker my sound is.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us. Do you hear that? Versus the seller wants to meet with us. Okay, so I would just reduce that second syllable a little bit more. The key part is the first syllable. And this is another strategy too, in your own speech. Many words have multiple syllables. So the one you really want to emphasize in American English is the stress syllable. All the other syllables are going to be much weaker. So for instance here, seller, sell is the key part. So weaken the we see later on email. So the key part there is the E. So it's not email, it's email. Email. Notice how fast and weak the mail is. It also has a lower pitch. We see this on worry. It's like whir, and then the E sound comes in at the end of this week. Worry. Okay. We see it something. Something. Notice thing has a lower pitch and it's faster. Something. Okay. Another word, for instance, like independent. Independent. The stress is on pen, so that needs to be a higher pitch and longer. The other syllables are going to be a lot weaker. Independent. Independent. Okay, so just another thing that can help you sound more natural relatively quickly is taking your stress syllables of words, making them a little higher in pitch, a little longer, and making all the other syllables a little lower in pitch and a little weaker. Okay. Let's listen to this again.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us.
A little choppy there on meet with.
Wants to meet with us.
Meet with us. Meet with us versus meet with us. Meet with us. So notice that you're not hearing my T sound. Meet with. It's not meet with. It's meet with. This is a held T. So I'm not letting the air escape on that T sound. Instead of saying meet, I'm saying meet, and then I'm immediately linking with. Meet with, compare. Meet with and meet with.
Can you send them an email and
I really like that part. I think it sounds really good.
with us? Can you
almost feels like the meme, what is it, Office Space or whatever. Can you that's a nice filler word.
Can you send them an email and
Send him an email? Send him an email?
can you send them an email?
Yeah, it's send him and not and, so that's just a little typo there, but yeah, I think he said and. Send him an email. Can you send him an email?
Can you send them an email?
And this also does what we mentioned earlier about thought groups. So he has two thought groups here. Can you then he's going to go down a pitch. Send him an email. Can you send him an email? Nice progression there. I like that a lot.
Them an email and set a time.
And set a time. Send him an email and set a time. I maybe would have added more contrast here. I would have had a different pitch level for set a time. Just a note.
Email and set a time.
Hear it again.
Can you send them an email and set a time?
Send him an email and set a time. Send him an email and set a time. So I would just maybe gone a little bit lower on the set a time for the pitch, just personally. Okay. Hello also to Rosaura checking in again. Great to see you once more, miss. If you'd like to, again, you can send us a pronunciation file. We'll be here for a little bit longer. Okay. Besides that,
can you send them an email and set a time? I wouldn't worry about it.
I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. You're a little heavy on about. Okay.
Can you send them an email and set a time? I wouldn't worry about it.
Worry about it. So you're putting stress on about? I probably would put it on worry. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. Instead of worry about it, more worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. I think worry is going to be the more common stress. But again, you can go to Youglish.com and see other native speakers saying that. Worry about. I would just put worry about and kind of see where people are stressing.
It's just time to move on and find something else.
I think this last sentence is the one that's the most closed off. Okay, so like in terms of breath, and I also think the placement's a little bit high.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's just time to move on.
Move on. A little bit more I said move on, more move on. Do you hear that difference?
It's just time to move on.
Move on. It's just time to move on. Okay, so a little bit more open, more breath, and lower placement on. It's not on, more on, move on. Just time to move on.
Worry about it. It's just time to move on.
It's just also that it's just part.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's just time to move.
It's just, it feels like E versus it's. Watch out for that short I sound on it's. It's just time to move on.
About it. It's just time to move on and find something else.
Find something else. Move on and find something else. I think that's the pattern I would expect for that last part. It's just time to move on and find something else. Find something else. But I think we went a little high.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's just time to move on and find something else.
Find something else versus find something else. So notice, find something else. Find something else. Find something else. I feel like that pattern is going to be more common. I do want to hear something.
Time to move on and find something else.
Something else. Where our placement is rising on that ing, on something. So is that something, short I sound? That short I sound is difficult. Again, sides of your tongue touching your top teeth, almost like you're biting the sides of your tongue. The goal is like something. It's not something, it's something. It's a else, more else, L. Can you do this progression? L, 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 and then we can add the S. L, else, L, else, L, else. I would practice that progression there. And find something else. Find something else. See if anything else is standing up.
By the way, the seller wants to meet with us. Can you send him an email and set a time?
Just a quick note on that link. I like set a time. So notice that T on set is surrounded by vowels. You have that E before it. You have the A after it. So it's become a fast E sound. It's like set a time. Set a time. Very natural linking there.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Maybe even wouldn't a little closed off.
I wouldn't worry about
I wouldn't. You could have more air if you wanted. It's like I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry. Wouldn't. I said wouldn't worry. Wouldn't.
about it. It's just time to move on and find something else.
Yeah.
The house
Oh, and then we had that last part. I did forget about that. I'm sorry. And this last part.
he's selling is very expensive anyway. The seller wants to meet with us and find something else. The house he's selling is very expensive anyway.
House he's selling is very expensive anyways. The house he's selling is very expensive anyways. You can say anyway or anyways, both ways. We're fine.
The time to move on and find something else. The house he's selling is very expensive anyway.
Your kind of house he's selling is very expensive, so you're also putting a stress on expensive.
Something else. The house he's selling is very expensive anyway.
The house he's selling is very expensive anyway. The house he's selling is very expensive anyway. House he's selling is very expensive anyways. House he's selling is very expensive anyways. I think very is often a word that does not get stressed, but this is a place where I would maybe consider stressing very actually. House he's selling is very expensive anyway. But I think the general movement there is pretty okay. All right, Sycamore, if you have any questions for me about anything there, be sure to let me know. But thank you for sending your file. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. I know I missed some things. My mom is saying that sounds very natural. Yeah, that's what I said too, right? Can you send an email? Yeah, that sounded great. I really like that part. Yeah, I thought the last sentence in general sounded pretty good too. Thank you to my mom. And Zabeda says, going back to earlier, we looked at the expression, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And again, if your language has a similar version, we would love to hear it in the chat. In Persian, kachi is a simple dessert, so it's better than nothing. Cool. We'll take it. I'm guessing, does it rhyme? It looks like it would rhyme if the phonetic spelling or disspelling is any indication. Let me know if it's a rhyming phrase as well. Or at least kind of has like some similar sounds going with it. Okay. But in case, again, you're joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Jeff. I'm with Fluent America, and this is the Schwa Mill, our weekly Saturday show, where, again, every single Saturday at this time, we take a look at pronunciation files that you send us, and then we give suggestions to help them sound even more natural in American English pronunciation. If you're getting any value or benefit from what we're doing today, first of all, I hope you send us a file. You can go to the video description to see the document. It is a Google Doc where you can send in your own pronunciation information. You can see it looks like this. Okay. And so again, it's going to direct you to a website called vocaroo.com. I'm going to see a big red record button. You press that record button and you're going to see it starts recording. Then pause it, you save and share it. It gives you this link. You click that link, you post it in the documents, and now you are in the documents, and we have a pronunciation file that we can see and give you feedback on. And again, we do this every single Saturday. So if you're watching this, if you're a lurker, if you have seen our show before, you're watching right now, and you have not said hello, can you do me a favor? Just say hey in the chat. Just say hi. That's all. You can go back to lurking afterwards. That's fine. I just want to know that you're here. But again, feel free to send us a pronunciation file. I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. Speaking of that, let's take a look at our next file here. A little bit of a long one. I do need to share my audio. Let me reshare. All right, in this next pronunciation file, let's see what we have here.
She complained about the wait, but ate the cake anyway. Jake hates waiting for trains and planes. It rains and hails in April and May. I will stay in the game even though it's late. My neighbor from Spain moved away today.
Okay, so lots of sentences are kind of focusing on the A sound. Um, let's kind of just focus on a couple of these. We're going for that like first half or so.
She complained about her weight but ate the cake anyway. Jake?
Okay, so again, this is talking a lot about the A sound. So let's talk about just some things for the A to help you achieve an even more natural sound in American English. A lot of languages have an A sound. I think what separates American English A from other languages is that we're not finishing with a super tense E sound, like a lot of other languages doing like A, really finishing with that E sound with a very high placement in a very closed position, so not a lot of errors passing through. But what we see in American English instead is that the sound tends to be a lot more open. So more A. So it's a, it becomes A. And this is beneficial because this allows us to keep more breath flowing. Because if you're doing A, you're really blocking a lot of air and it's going to make things sound tense. If you're looking for some mouth position things to kind of help with this, so basically, you want the back of your tongue to be down a little bit more to allow more air to pass through. The front of your tongue and the middle of your tongue, mid front of your tongue can be a little high, but doesn't need to be too high. And again, the goal is really trying to get a sound that's like a. Again, not a. See if you can hear the difference there between these. This is also a tricky sound because one, it's considered a long vowel. This does not mean you hold it longer. I know the name is a long vowel, but it's just A. And when you have A plus an L, then it's going to break in half a little bit. So, for instance, in a word like sail, notice it's going to be ale. So it's not il, it's ale. So notice it's an A sound, followed by a dark L, which again sounds like uh. So again, in a word like sail, the tip of your tongue is actually down here, and the back of your tongue's a little high. The sound you want is uh. If you're doing that's a sign that your tongue is too high and you're blocking a lot of breath, which is the opposite of what we want. So again, it's not sail, it's sail. 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 Okay. But we'll take a look at these A sounds again in a moment. My mom notes that the A is such a tricky letter. Agreed. Definitely can be. It also becomes tricky around like L's are tricky with the A. N's are tricky. Like, for instance, a word like pain. A lot of students are saying pain versus pain. So again, making sure that it's just going right from the A to the N. Takes a note. We can practice these sentences in Mission English next week. Oh, yeah, we can, man. Got to remember them, but yes. And then Edward asks a great question here. In American English, this will be pronounced as 8. Same as the number 8. Again, A sounds, so it'll be that second option for the phonetic spelling. Okay. You want me to read the Romanized Persian? Oh god, or the Kachi simple dessert, so it's better than nothing. Or you want me to read the other one? Kuchi be asichi. I know nothing about Persian. This is not fair. I know literally not. I can tell you some common things that Persian speakers have when they're speaking in English, but I know nothing about Persian language itself. Firm one's British English. Okay, so Edward is our British English expert showing his expertise once more. 8 is pronounced more as et in British English. Could be. I will take your word for it, but I will defer to you. Definitely will defer to you. But anyways, we're going back to our pronunciation file here. So again, we're targeting this A sound. Take a look at a couple of these sentences here. And let's listen to the first one.
She complained about her weight but ate the cake anyway.
Okay. A little bit inconsistent, especially in the second half, where we started seeing, especially like 8 and cake, what we started to see is that the sounds did start to kind of raise in placement a little bit, and the breath also got a little bit more restricted, so it wasn't flowing as naturally as it could have. Instead, ate the cake more ate the cake, you know. So it might be helpful to take quick phrases and just use your verbs. So for instance, for ate the cake, it's like a, because you have an a sound followed by a schwa, followed by an a sound, a, 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 a. That's probably the pattern you're going to get in the sentence. So repeat that with me, a, and now we can add the rest of the consonants. A, ate the cake, a, ate the cake, a, ate the cake. And our goal is to really try to keep the breath flowing. If you're still saying ate the cake, now you're making your consonants too strong. Okay. If you're saying ate the cake, what you're doing now is you're raising your placement really high and things are too tense. We want to keep the placement down and the breath low. Okay. So ate the cake, ate the cake. Okay. You can do it for the beginning part. So she complained about her weight. She complained. She complained. She complained about her weight. About her weight. Say she complained. About her weight. She complained about her weight. She complained about her weight. And then we get the last part, but ate the cake anyway. Okay. She complained about her weight, but ate the cake anyway. So this goes back also to what we mentioned earlier about thought groups and pitch. Because again, maybe in that first half, let's do the first thought group ending on weight. She complained about her weight, and then we're going to drop, but ate the cake anyway. She complained about her weight, but ate the cake anyway. So just some things here. That's how that could sound from a typical American English speaker.
She complained about her weight, but ate the cake anyway.
Because everything's really punchy. Ate the cake anyway versus ate the cake anyway. So this is kind of the tricky thing about working with sentences that target a specific sound is you get so focused on the sound that you ignore everything else, right? You ignore pitch, you ignore breath, you ignore linking. So you end up with a sentence that goes extra heavy on the vowel sounds and then sounds a little bit unnatural, right?
She complained about her weight.
You can hear how punchy it is. She complained, but it could be a lot calmer, right? She complained about her weight. She complained about her weight.
But ate the cake anyway.
Ate the cake. Again, very choppy. The consonants are really heavy. Ate the cake versus ate the cake. Ate the cake. But ate the cake anyway. Okay, so I hope some of those things come through there in terms of the breath and things. Let's take a look at the second sentence.
Cake anyway. Jake hates waiting for trains and planes.
I feel like you're giving me some different vowel sounds here.
Jake hates waiting for.
Jake hates waiting. So these are kind of tense and high placements.
For trains and planes.
Trains and planes. Like almost feels like on planes, we're almost getting more planes.
For trains and planes.
Planes versus planes. Where's this?
Cake anyway.
Okay.
Wait, but ate the cake anyway. Jake hates waiting for.
Jake hates waiting. So you're like giving almost every single word there has stress. Like Jake hates waiting. Jake hates waiting. What do you want to emphasize here? So maybe let's maybe put on hates. Like Jake hates waiting. Jake hates waiting. Jake hates waiting.
For trains and planes.
Trains and planes. A. Trains and planes. This is the progression I would practice. A. Trains and planes. A. Trains and planes. AIA, trains and planes. AIA, trains and planes. AIA, trains and planes. Jake hates waiting for trains and planes. Jake hates waiting for trains and planes. Just again, trying to get more breath, trying to get flowing a little bit more. Let's listen to our last one here.
It rains and hails in April and May.
Okay. We see some dark L things here, right? April. That tends to be a very difficult vowel sound. We'll listen to how you said it again in a moment. But April ends on a dark L. It's not April, it's April. We actually have a video that talks about the months of the year that you may want to check out. April, dark L. And then A. It's not April, it's April. Lots of breath.
In planes. It rains and hails in April and
April. Again, we're kind of hearing that high L sound. Just a note.
It rains and hails in.
Want to hear rains? It rains. It rains.
It rains and
It rains. You can kind of hear that T sound. Probably more common to get a held T on that, just to note. Since it rains, more it rains, going in held T. So I say it rains, more it rains. That held T probably going to be more common.
it rains and hails in
It rains and hails. So you're kind of stressing everything. It rains and hails versus like it rains and hails. It rains and hails. It rains and hails. So if you want to have both of them stressed, then at least change the pitch. Okay, so like it rains and hails. And maybe what you could do, maybe everything's taken a step down. So maybe you're doing 4 thought groups here. So stressing rains, hails, April, May. Maybe you're stressing all those hard words. Okay, fine. If you're stressing all of them, though, let's take a step down in pitch each time. It rains and hails in April and May. It rains and hails in April and May. It rains and hails in April and May. Or if you want 2 thought groups, you could do it rains and hails in April and May. It rains and hails in April and May. So there's just lots of different options here, but these things are going to help it just sound a little bit more fluid in addition to practicing your A sound.
It rains and plains. It rains and hails in
Also very closed off on rains. So can you do like A, ray, rains, A, ray, rains? You want that A sound to sound the same in all of those. A, ray, rains. If you say that like you're doing A, ray, rains, now we're getting a slightly different vowel sound, right?
It rains and
rains versus rains. I do think we get more breath through.
hails in April and May.
We talked about April. And then May. Do like A, May. Try and get more breath through. If you're still finding this difficult, one thing you can try doing, we did earlier with the breathing out with the sh sound. So I would definitely recommend that. But we could do it like with the A sound in May. So take a big breath in through your nose and then say A in May until you're out of breath. So like A May, 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 A May. You could probably even do it longer. But notice that again, this is going to help the breath keep flowing. You're going to feel your diaphragm contracting, or at least you should. You're also going to get the focus more on the vowel, because if you're doing A May, A May, A May, now that M is super strong, right? And we want that A sounds to be the focus, not the consonants. Okay. So Beta, I know there have been some comments and things like that. I will be checking them. Beta has made a note, though this breath thing is really hard. I still can't say naturally, ate the cake. Okay. So again, doing that same sort of progression, we can do that exercise that we just did. So for instance, A, let's just practice that with breath. So big breath in through my nose. A, ate the cake. 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 So again, the key is to do that in one breath. Don't add more breath. Keep it flowing as long as you can. If you can't go as long as me, that could be a sign that you're forcing out too much breath at once. So try to release less air, but extend it. Yeah, these things take time. Okay. But thank you for sending this pronunciation file. We do appreciate it. Some great sentences there for the A sound. That is a difficult diphthong in American English. There are some questions here, so I just want to take a quick look. Okay. Edward makes a note. That's another A sentence. Yeah, probably one of the famous ones. I forget what movie it's from. Do you guys know what movie it's popular in? Like the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. If you find this difficult, again, focus on the vowels. A, the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. A stays mainly in the plain. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. Okay, just something there. Another question as well. Jeff, if you have time. I do have time. Yes. Can you pronounce hell, hill, and heel, please? Like that? Did I do it right? So again, that first word will be hell. It's like L, hell, L, hell. Okay, like hello. Hill will be your short I sound. It's like ill, hill, ill, hill. Okay. And the word heel, E, heel, E, heel. You want to watch out for heel. That's that E sound is considered a long vowel. So that is one that's going to break. So like eel, heel. Okay, so just a note there. So hell, hill, heel, hell, hill, heel, hell, hill, heel. Okay, so just a note there. Okay. All right, I do need a quick water break. Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing. Okay, my mom is making a note of the movie. I forget. Movie Pygmalion, Les Doolittle, and then Edward coming through in the clutch. Good job, Edward. Thank you, sir. My Fair Lady. I knew it was from something. Super famous expression there. The rain space. No seeing the plate. Thank you, sir. I'm glad to hear that one, it rhymes, and that I kind of pronounced it kind of okay. I'm glad to hear that. Other things I'm missing. Okay. And Rosario makes a note. Repetition helps a lot with pronunciation. Facts. Yeah, it's the number one tool you have. If you're studying pronunciation, that's the exercise you need to be doing. By the way, guys, if you're trying to get more practice with practice pitch, and you're also trying to get your vowel sounds more diamond, well, I do have exciting news. We have created our very first video course. Okay. This is content that normally with students takes me 2-3 classes to get with. So you guys are getting a discount with this. But our video course is 100% just called 4-Step American Accent. It goes through everything I'm talking about today with more focused practice than what we're doing today. So if you're trying to get more practice, this is the program or the course that you need. It's about an hour and 30 minutes, and it's just 4 exercises for our main components: for placement, for breath, for pitch, and for emphasizing vowel sounds. And we've had several students go through it. It's a live recording that we've done with them. You can see their feedback. Okay, we include their thoughts. Just some quick notes too about who this is for. This is for people who it's not a course that goes over mouth position and things like that. A lot of other pronunciation teachers on YouTube are so focused on, oh, you need to open your mouth this wide, you need to put your tongue here, you need to do this, you need to do this. But the problem is that American English has 44 sounds. So how are you're telling me that you want to remember 44 mouth positions when you're talking? Cool, have fun with that. I don't think that's a very practical way of approaching pronunciation. I think that instead, 4 things are much easier to remember: low placement, more breath, contrast with your pitches, focus on vowel sounds. That's what this course is all about. We're trying to teach you a new way to view pronunciation and to really kind of just completely change how you approach it. That's our whole goal. Okay? So again, it's called 4-Step American Accent. We would love to have you try out the course. I think it's going to take your English to the next level. And these are the same sorts of exercises I do with students one-on-one. So you guys are getting a discount because usually it takes longer to get through all that content. But again, you can go to FluentAmerican/4-Step American Accent and check out our course. Let me know how it works. Okay. Other options too, of course, are our Mission English program, where we do daily live streams at these times. So if you also want some more, maybe a video course isn't for you, but you want feedback from me in person or live, I should say, well, then Mission English is our program, and you can find out more information about Mission English as well on the website by clicking over at Mission English. In fact, we have some members of Mission English joining us here in the stream already, so they can tell you all about how they are finding it. Okay. But I know a couple other files did come in. Okay. Let's see what we got. Elchin sent a file. My mom sent a file. So Beta sent a file. Yeah. Rosario says it's hard to remember. Yeah, you're trying to remember 44 mouth positions. And the other thing is that just to give a real quick example about mouth position is that like when you're doing mouth position stuff, like for instance, like a TH, if you ask a lot of teachers, how do you make a TH sound? A lot of people are like, oh, you need to put your tongue in between your teeth, like things like that, which is fine. You can make a TH sound that way. But the problem is, try saying something like this then. this, then, and you try and do that between your teeth, like this, then, like that's so hard to do, So it's less about mouth position. Mouth position, don't get me wrong, it changes sounds, but most of your sounds already made here. Another thing too is that a lot of teachers, when they're teaching you vowel sounds, they're going to teach you that like your vowels are going to be like A, E, I, O, U, all those lip movements, which is fine. You can get vowel sounds that way. That's certainly true. But you can also get those same vowel sounds. Just watch my lips here, like A, E, I, O, U. Do you see that difference? A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. So mouth position is obviously not the only thing that has an impact on sound. In fact, it's probably one of the least important things. It's more about placement, breath, and all those other aspects. So I do hope you consider that. Our video course is going to really help you change how you view pronunciation. Going to our next file here. Allow me to share my audio once more. Okay, let us take a listen.
Hi.
Hi.
My spirits are just soaring. I got the most wonderful phone call from a friend of mine. I hadn't been in touch with her in quite a few months, and she just called me and we chatted and had a great conversation.
Cool. I'm glad you had that experience, Mom. Let's talk about some things. I want to focus a little bit on rising intonation. So rising intonation, or intonation patterns in general. So there's a couple different main ones. There's falling intonation, like this. There's rising intonation, like this. There's fall rise, like this. And there's also like rise fall, so like this. So there's a lot of different intonation patterns in English. Rising intonation, this, that's the one that is typically used when you're asking a yes/no question, like "Can I help you?" Things like that. It's also used, though, in the middle of sentences to indicate that you're not done talking. See, we see it a lot with like lists and things. Okay. Rosaura makes a note. She sounds more clear than the other recorder. She is a native American English speaker, so she has some advantages.
Hi. My spirits are just soaring. I got the most wonderful phone call from.
You can also hear the difference in pitch there.
Hi.
Hi, starting really high.
My spirits are just soaring.
Now we're taking a step down. Hi. My spirits are just soaring.
I got the most wonderful phone call.
I got the most wonderful phone call. So you hear it again. Every thought group, a different pitch register. Hi. My spirits are just soaring. I got the most wonderful phone call. So again, all those things there.
From a friend of mine. I hadn't been in touch with her.
There's more information coming. Rising intonation.
In quite a few months. And she just called me.
She just called me and we chatted. So again, she just called me and we chatted.
And had a great conversation. Hi, my spirits are just soaring. I got the most wonderful phone call from a friend of mine.
From a friend of mine. Again, there's more information coming. So that's why we're rising. From a friend of mine.
Hadn't been in touch with her.
Rising intonation because we're still talking.
In quite a few months.
And now the sentence is done. In quite a few months. Hadn't been in touch with her for quite a few months. Now we're falling.
And she just called me.
Rising intonation. More information is coming.
And we chatted and had a.
Okay.
Great conversation.
Had a great conversation. And now we're done talking again. So just kind of pay attention to some of those intonation patterns and things like that. I think that's a great audio that you can shadow a little bit, practice with. To times like when you're describing a story or talking about something with a friend, those rising intonation patterns are very, very helpful to indicate that you have more to say. But thanks to my mom for, sending that file. I always get nervous with my mom because if I go too picky, you're like, well, you did this, Mom, but I would have done it. She gets like, why are you attacking me? And then she gets, it's a sad thing. So guys, make sure you be nice to your moms. Always be nice to your moms. Okay, moving on. Moving on to 5. else. Okay. Lots of great things to learn. Agreed. Mom's a great teacher. Oh, I want to check our poll, by the way. Okay, got a few more votes coming in, so be sure again on YouTube. If you're following on YouTube, you can vote. I want to know, how much pronunciation did you study this week? And if you're watching on Facebook, you can also put it in the chat. How much time did you spend studying American English this week? Don't lie to me. Did you study for 5 minutes? Did you study for 6 to 20 minutes? Did you study for 21 to 59 minutes? Or did you study 1 or more hours? And right now, in the lead is 1 or more hours. So kudos to those people who are putting in that time to study. 1 or more hours a week. That's great. Hey guys, 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day can help you get there. That's all it takes. 5 minutes a day. Maybe 10 minutes a day. Mom, what are you studying? What's my mom? Is my mom studying Columbo? Is that what you're studying, Mom? Okay, we have this quick file here.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Your guess is as good as mine. Okay. Got some things here. Rosaura mentioning. Edward saying 20 to 59 minutes. Okay. Okay, I see you. Expected more an hour. Okay. Get that hour in. Get your time in. That is great to hear. Where is our document? Okay. Pretty common expression in American English. Mom said she study how to speak American. What are you saying, Mom? Here is our sentence. Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. This is, again, a very common expression. I would definitely consider putting this into Youglish. If you have not, I keep mentioning Youglish, and you guys are probably like, what is Youglish? What is this site that you keep talking about, Jeff? I have no idea what you're talking about. Youglish is a site where you can, it's not perfect, but you can put in phrases and listen to native speakers saying them. So, for instance, if I type in, your guess is as good as mine. Reboot. Here I am. Okay, I'm back. Let me see. Just music.
Your time. How to get through the day to day? Your guess is as good as mine.
Mine. So one thing that she did there was she put the stress on mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. But anyways, you can play around with this site and put in different things like that. So that may be helpful for you in your studies. Again, it's called Youglish.com. But
your guess is as good as mine.
Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. I want more contrast because I think everything's kind of blending together. So I would say, hey, maybe 2 thought groups. So maybe like your guess or your guess. I think you could either stress guess or your. I think either one of those could be fine. It's like your guess. So remember we talked earlier about thought groups and pitches, like your guess. Then our next one, maybe we'll go lower. It's as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Or maybe I'll do the opposite, like your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Either of those options I think could work. But I think having some greater contrast there is going to help with comprehension for your listener.
Your guess is as good as mine.
The other thing I would say is that I think this is staying relatively open for your vowels, which is great.
Your guess is as good as mine.
But the one sound that is not as clear is the word good. It's getting a little bit closed off, like good versus good. This is your sound, like in book or look or could. So good. It's like good. 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 Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Or your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Because those are just the different options there.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really think that opening up good more would have helped a lot with comprehension. I see that Rosaura was mentioning she's having some difficulty understanding. I think that playing around with the pitch would have helped a lot, and I think that opening up that sound on good is going to really help this as well. Those are the 2 big suggestions there that I think will really have a pretty big impact on this file. But Zobeta, thank you for sending that. If you have questions about anything there, let me know. Okay. Thank you as always. I know it's not always easy. Okay. And let's take a look at another one. Okay. And Elchin. Elchin is sent to us. Another one.
The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and according to their Facebook page this morning, they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday. But Grant, my question for you, and we're doing this because we were talking about it yesterday, is why does this area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular get such weird weather?
Okay. I would love to know if this is shadowing or if this is just him going at it, because that would have an impact. Let me play that again. Let's kind of break it down.
The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and
Mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston. I think it sounds fine. I'm just going to turn down the audio slightly. It's coming a little hot.
the mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and the mountain's about 130 miles.
Yeah, mountains. That tends to be a tricky word, mountains. So again, making sure that you can say mountains. That's fine, but usually it's going to be pronounced with a held sound. So I do like how I'm not hearing that T, which is good. It's like mountains, mountains. So instead of mountains, more mountains, mountains. Good. Mountains about.
The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and
130 miles north of Boston. I think that sounds good. I'm curious about the pace. The pace is like super fast and kind of forceful. Like the mountain's about 100 miles, you know, kind of like that. So I'm guessing this could be from shadowing. But I'm kind of missing. I'm trying to understand why the urgency, why the need to talk so fast.
30 miles north of Boston, and according to their Facebook page this morning, they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday. But
okay, Elchin came at a good time. One thing that I would say, Elchin, you can let us know if you're shadowing this or not, because that'll be helpful for me. Going back to contrast with pitch, everything's at the same pitch, which can make this okay. This was shadowing. Were they using like the same pitch for everything?
the mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and
The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston. Like the mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston. I think that works. I think that's fine.
miles north of Boston, and according to their Facebook page,
And according to but it's this next part continues to be at the same pitch. The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, according to their Facebook page. So everything is staying at the same pitch level. And I personally would have expected the pitch to shift. That I mean, you'll certainly find some native speakers that were going to keep everything at the same level. Don't get me wrong, but I was expecting things to drop a little bit or shift. North of Boston, according to their Facebook page this morning, like I was expecting a drop there, and I'm just not getting it. Like north of Boston, and according to their Facebook page this morning, like something like that.
30 miles north of Boston, and according to their Facebook page this morning.
Is that how they? It's always interesting with shadow. So I would go back to the original audio and see if this is the stress pattern they used. According to their Facebook page this morning, like are they stressing that consistently and that often? Like this Facebook page this morning versus like their Facebook page this morning. So now I'm just stressing Facebook. Or according to their Facebook page this morning, now I'm just stressing morning. So it's just kind of alternatives there to consider. Just to make sure we're stressing the same things as the original audio.
And according to their Facebook page this morning, they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday. But
they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday. I would expect something there to go higher. And according to their Facebook page this morning, they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday. Like something like that. Again, checking the pitches, just see, do they go higher or do they keep it at the same level?
Grant, my question for you, and we're doing.
But Grant should have a capital G just because that's the name. Grant is a person's name. It's a male name.
No, yesterday, but Grant, my question for you, and we're.
But Grant, I'm also kind of curious too. Maybe they went higher on Grant, or did they do it that way? But Grant versus but Grant. So I would check the pitch on that. Okay.
My question for you, and we're doing this because we were talking about it yesterday.
And again, Grant, my question for you, and we're doing this because we're talking about it yesterday. We're kind of giving extra information here. So again, I'm not saying that you're shadowing wrong. I'm curious. It would be helpful to kind of hear the original audio because I'm wondering if they actually had a lower pitch for this part because this is a section kind of giving extra information. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times when people do this in their speech, this part has a lower pitch. So again, but Grant, my question for you. Now I'm going to go down, and we're doing this because we're talking about yesterday. But Grant, my question for you, and we're doing this because we were talking about yesterday, just kind of something there, play around the pitches there.
We're talking about it yesterday's.
There's also, you're giving a lot of stress that we're talking about it yesterday. I don't know if they're double check just to make sure they have that many stresses because I'm wondering, I believe that there may be fewer. This is a lot of stresses.
Because we were talking about it yesterday's.
Talking about it yesterday versus talking about it. We were talking about yesterday or talking about yesterday.
Why does this area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular?
Why does this area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular? I think that's fine. Another pattern you'll see if in particular, like another pattern you may hear with this is like, why does this area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular? It's like in Mount Washington in particular, it's like even particular getting a higher, even more stress and a higher pitch. Okay, just a note. Mount Washington and New Hampshire in particular.
Yesterday's. Why does this area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular get such weird weather?
Okay, fine. Besides like stress patterns and things like that, let's assume that all the stresses you're using are correct, just like in the original audio. Let's say that all the pitches that you're using are correct, just like in the original audio you're using the shadow. Are there pronunciation things that are standing out?
The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and according to their Facebook page this morning, they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday. But
to that part, I don't have a whole lot to say. I think it sounds good. I think it sounds pretty open, pretty connected.
The mountain's about 130 miles north of Boston, and according to the
Boston's fine. You'll hear other people pronounce it Boston. Boston, like I usually pronounce it Boston, like with more of an aw sound.
Their Facebook page this morning.
I hear Facebook again.
And according to their Facebook page,
Facebook versus Facebook. Maybe a little more sound on book, a little more open, just a little bit.
This morning, they got about 2 feet of snow yesterday, but
2 feet of snow yesterday. Obviously, maybe just a little bit more open on that O sound on snow and that A sound on yesterday. Just a note.
And my question for you, and we're doing.
My question for you.
My question for you, and
you. My question for you. Kind of closed off there a little bit. You. My question for you versus my question for you. My question for you. My question for you. Just a little bit more breath there on the oo sound on you.
We're doing this because we were talking about it yesterday's. Why?
Yesterday's versus yesterday is maybe a little bit on that A sound like yesterday.
Yesterday's.
Just slightly more open on that A sound. We talked about A sound earlier as well. I forget where in the stream, but you can find that.
Why does this area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular,
very heavy consonants, right?
This area of New Hampshire and Mount Washington in particular
versus in particular, you could use a dark L sound. A little weaker, will allow more breath to come through, the tip of your tongue down. In particular. Is it particular, more particular, just to kind of smooth it out a little bit.
Washington in particular gets such weird weather.
But yeah, those are going to be my main comments there. Overall, very nice work. I'm going to guess that this took you a couple takes to do because I know how you put in the work. But yeah, thank you so much for sending that file. I think you're doing great stuff, man. Keep it up. Compare these files to the first files you sent us, and I think you'll hear a difference in terms of the breath and the linking and even vowel sounds. So great work. Okay. And if you're curious about Mount Washington, yeah, that is interesting to know. Okay, Nelson, if you have any questions for me about that, let me know as well. Okay. Really quick, guys, I see at least one more file I want to take a look at. But before we do, again, just want to mention some of the opportunities that we have for you in case you're just joining us. So again, my name is Jeff. This is the Schwa Mill, our Saturday show where we take a look at your pronunciation files. But this is Saturday, but we have things throughout the week that you can join us in. Okay. So these are different opportunities we have between our YouTube videos for free resources. We have Telegram group, which is for $5 a month. We have Mission English, which gets you into all of these live streams. we guarantee you pay one price and you get into at least 30 classes a month. So you're basically paying like $1 per class pretty much, and you get feedback on your pronunciation. You get, again, we're meeting Monday through Friday, so you're getting that consistent practice, because if you know pronunciation, the key is making sure you get a little bit of studying in every single day. Doesn't have to be much, but a little bit. That's why our streams are a half hour. As you can see, again, they're also spread out at different times. That way we can hit a time zone that works for you. Okay. And the feedback that you get, you can play over and over again because all the classes are saved. So if you're trying to get that consistent pronunciation practice in, I don't think there's a better opportunity out there. I'll be honest with you. Just kind of want to give you a quick idea of what class looks like. Sometimes this file I'm going to show you guys does get a little bit hot, so you might need to turn down your speaker volume just a little bit, but this kind of gives you an idea of what we do inside of our Mission English class.
Ooh, ooh. Notice that for me, I'm not really having that ooh, ooh. And it doesn't sound exactly the same, like ooh and ooh, but they're close enough that for the speech that you're doing in daily life, it'll be okay. Really nice day.
Really nice day.
So what I'm hearing, so I heard really nice day. So what happened was you put day at a lower pitch. Really nice day.
Just loose.
Okay. I would say, I thought for the most part it sounded pretty good. I think there were a couple words that we do want to watch out for a little bit. Hey. Yeah, there you go. That last one's great.
A sound that we talked about earlier. Yeah. So we would love to have you in Mission English. I think it's something that you guys would enjoy. And again, you go to fluentamerican.com, which you can see right there, down there, and go to that link and find out more information as well. Okay, guys. As Emmanuel says, hey. Where's the hey? Yeah, just trying to keep it nice and open. Okay, I see one last file. Oh no, that's gone. I can't access it. All right, well, that was anticlimactic. That's all the files I have. All right, well, sorry guys, I thought I had more, but I don't. So we made it through everyone's pronunciation files. Okay. Rosario makes a note. 3 months for me, probably improved my pronunciation. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you can. I don't think it takes that long, honestly, to start making noticeable improvement in pronunciation. I don't think it has to take that long. I think that, for a specific sound that you're studying, you can really start noticing improvement. And I don't know, if you study the sound for like 5-10 minutes for like every day for a week, 2 weeks, I think you can start making noticeable improvement on a sound. What you're going to notice when you study pronunciation is that the first thing that improves is your listening, because you just start hearing the sound better, and then later you can start applying it, because it's hard to pronounce a sound that you can't hear, right? Okay. It was probably the singer. Yeah, that's who I was thinking, because it says Mr. Jeff, so I imagine he was copying me, but that's all I got. Yeah, I don't know. Zara asks how I pay for the tutorials for the part of our Mission English program. That's a great question. Thanks for asking. And Elchin asks. Elchin is always asking the hard questions. So again, this is where you can access our Mission English program to register. Okay. And of course, Rosario, if you still have trouble after the stream, you can let me know. Send me a message on Facebook. But the hard questions. Jeff, do you think I'm too far from sounding American? These are always really hard questions, I think you've been improving your pronunciation. I thought that your linking and things were great. I think, again, it's hard without hearing the original audio, because I don't know, are you stressing different words and things like that? But the general things, I think you're definitely on the right path. I think in the right situation, if with the right sentence, you could, sound pretty American to people, honestly, but it also, I do think we want to keep working, because sometimes, again, the consonant sounds are still coming in a little heavy. So we want to make sure that the vowels are getting enough room to really shine. Because again, American English is so focused on those vowel sounds. We really want the vowels to stand out. Okay. So yeah, keep on that same path. Yep. So Beta, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I know it's not always easy to be here. So yeah. Emmanuel says, big question time. Is there a big question that's coming my way? I'm nervous now. Maybe I should leave. I'm a little nervous. Yeah. Edward says that you're coming closer, Elchin. Yeah. Everyone's throwing words of encouragement to Elchin. Yeah. That's great. Because Elchin's doing the thing, man. Elchin's putting in the work. I know that sometimes he gets discouraged talking to some people, but he's doing some great things, pay attention to all the things that we mentioned in audio files. But yeah, don't just, I think a lot of times, for everyone who's at I think when you're studying languages, it's easy to get discouraged. Okay. And, I think when that happens, then what you can do is kind of just think back to, where you started, I see what he said. Hang on. Right. Okay. So I think, again, with pronunciation, it's very easy to get dejected and feel discouraged, when you're studying pronunciation or any language, any part of any language. So it's always important to kind of remember where you came from, and how long it's taking you to get there. Ask yourself, like, hey, are there things I can do now? What can I do now that I couldn't do a year ago? Or what can I do now that I couldn't do 6 months ago or 2 years ago? Just keeping those things in context. Those are all the key things to keep in mind because, especially when you're already at a high level, it becomes harder to see the gains you make. So it's always important to kind of keep the perspective. Emmanuel says his A sounds has improved a lot since the trailer. That's why we have the trailer. We have the trailers only to let Emmanuel see his progress. That's the only reason we have that still. That's I think that's a good reason personally. Yeah. But beyond that.
Hey everyone, it's Jeff.
All my troubles seem so far away.
Okay, alright.
We've arrived in that time of the show. I have some good news. We were able to do it. Mom sharing some words of encouragement, which we appreciate. Never get discouraged, guys. But yes, it is time. And before we play this, guys, again, try to help me out with the stream.
Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing.
All right, sit back, relax, get something good to drink, and let us see what we have here.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, oh my, but what do you mean? I am the one.
I didn't think it was this song at first.
Who would dance on the floor in a round. She said, I am the one who would dance on the floor in a round. She told me his name was Mr. Jeff. And she got to sing and every answer with eyes a dream of being the one who would dance on the floor in a round, babe. The people always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. And Jeffy always tells me, be careful with your words. And don't cuss in my stream,
Thank
or
you.
else I might just get banned. Hey,
Facts.
Mr. Jeff is not my father. He's just a dude who teaches English online. And my sister has a crush on him. She says he is so hot. But unfortunately, he's married.
Unfortunately.
Mr. Jeff is not my father. He's just a teacher who teaches English online. And I'm one of his students. Okay, yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay, well. Bye. Have a nice day. Bye. Yeah, bye. Bye.
What kind of car is he driving? What? Oh my gosh. So many questions. Well, guys, what else is there to say? You have spent another fine Saturday for some reason here at the Schwa Mill studying American English pronunciation with me. Once again, my name is Jeff. This is the Schwa Mill, where we help you craft your accent every single Saturday at this time. If we did not hear from you this week, if you did not send us a file, that's a shame. But I do have good news. That link that we use for the Google Doc is the same link we use every single week. So you can send us a file. I typically clear it out on Thursdays, so you can, at that moment, then input your own file, so that way we'll be able to see you for next time. Also, if you're watching us in the replay, say hi in the replay, because we would love to see you. Let us know you're here. And also be sure to follow our main channel, fluentamerican.com, if you're not already doing so. All right, I'm going to go work on more videos and things like that, because that's pretty much all I do these days. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope to see you in the future in our Mission English program, because I think, again, if you enjoy what we're doing here, you're going to enjoy Mission English so much more, because we'll actually be able to interact, not just through text, but, you know, visually in person and stuff. And it's, I don't know, I look forward to class. And I hope all our members do too. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good day, have a good night, good afternoon, and I'll see you all later. You take care. Bye.